A very good morning, dear students. Welcome to e-learning classes of Sacred Hearts of the subject Business Studies. Dear students, in the previous lecture, we are done with the incorporation stage of the formation of a joint stock company, which is basically associated with the registration of company under Companies Act 2013, and there were different steps involved in the incorporation stage. The first step was filing the necessary documents. After the name approval, some of the important documents have to be submitted with the registrar, and these important documents are such as memorandum of association, article of association, statement of authorized capital, written consent of directors, and so on. Thereafter, the second stage was payment of fees. The payment of registration fees is to be submitted to the registrar, and the fees is associated with the amount of authorized capital. If the authorized capital will be higher, the registration fees will also be higher, and if the authorized capital will be low, the registration fees will also be low. And thereafter, the third stage was registration. Just after submitting all the necessary documents and the payment of registration fees, now the registrar verify all the information that have been provided by the company. All the documents are cross checked. If registrar find them authentic and satisfied with the information, in that condition he used to write down the name of the company in his register. Now the next step was, as soon as the name will be registered in the company, the registrar will issue a certificate of incorporation, and certificate of incorporation is a legal proof that from today onwards or from the specific date onwards, the company is having the separate legal existence with the perpetual succession. Now, dear students, in today's lecture, we are going to discuss about the third and fourth stage. The third is capital subscription stage, and the fourth is commencement of business. So, let's get started. The very first is the capital subscription stage. Just see over here, after getting the certificate of incorporation, the private company can get formulated and commence their business as soon as the second stage completed. So, whosoever is a private company can start its business. But if we talk about the public company, then it have to go through the third and fourth stage, that is the capital subscription stage and commencement of certificate of commencement. So see the steps involved in the capital subscription stage. The very first is the SEBI approval. What is SEBI? SEBI is Security Exchange Board of India. So initially its approval is to be needed so that the interest of the investors can be protected. Now see, the public limited company must submit all the relevant information. Now all the information must be submitted with the SEBI, and then if the SEBI will find all the stuff material, then only the registration will be there of the company under the guidelines for the disclosure of investor protection 2000. The second step is the prospectus or a statement in lieu of a prospectus. Lieu means in place of. So now the public company has to prepare another important document called prospectus. And what is a prospectus? Dear student, it is a sort of invitation that is for the general public for the subscribing of the shares of the company. The company can issue prospectus, and it can also issue a statement in place of prospectus, whatever is suitable for the company. The next one, that is the appointment of bankers, brokers and underwriters. These professionals are appointed so that the buying and selling of all the financial security can take place without any obstacle and any problem. The next one is the minimum subscription. Now dear students, understand this point very carefully. To make sure that the company does not have a shortage of funds, it is made compulsory that the company must receive an application for some minimum number of shares, so that company may not find any shortage. So there is a criteria of the minimum number of shares, and these is called the minimum subscription, and that particular amount will be called as the minimum subscription. A public limited company cannot make allotment of the shares unless and until minimum subscription is not received. until and unless the minimum subscription amount is not received by the company will be not able to make any allotment of shares. And what is the criteria of the minimum subscription? That is the 90% of the issued amount. Whatever the criteria have been decided, it is the 90% of that. It must be received within the 120 days of issue of prospectus, and if doesn't happen, then within next 10 days whatever the amount have been deposited by the different investors, that is to be returned back. The next one is the application to stock exchange. Now a firm must get itself listed in the stock exchange before selling its security. Now before selling of the financial securities such as shares, now company have to be enlisted in the stock exchange, and for that a application and a certain amount of fees is to be submitted. Now see further, the stock exchange authority, now again a cross verification will be there about the history of the company, about the working of the company, about the image of the company, and if they are satisfied, then the name of the company is listed in the stock exchange list. Now there can be the next stage, that is the allotment of shares. After getting the name listed, the company prepares a return of allotment, whatever the detail of the allotment, how many shares is given, to whom given, and all with the name and address, all of the shareholders is given. The company has to submit a return of allotment with the registrar, and all this document will be submitted with the registrar. So this is the step of different steps of the capital subscription stage. Now the fourth stage is the commencement of business. After subscribing to securities and receiving the minimum subscription, the company applies to the registrar to issue a certificate of commencement. When all the stuff is done with the capital subscription stage, now registrar again the company knocks to the registrar so that the certificate of commencement of business can be issued. Now see further, along with the application, the company must file the following documents. And what are the documents? The very first, a declaration that shares payable in cash have been subscribed and minimum subscription have been received, that the company have received the minimum subscription. Second, a declaration that every director has paid in cash the application allotment money on his shares. Whatever the shares are there with the director, they have also paid the amount. Next, a declaration that no money is pending to pay back to the applicants. Nothing is left out to pay back to the applicants. And the last, a declaration that above requirements have been compiled as per the information of these people. Now, this have been done by the company or the representative of the company. Now, the registrar will verify all the documents and declarations submitted by the company. Now, the cross-checking will be done. If he is satisfied with the accounting and variety of these documents, verify these documents, then he will issue a certificate of commencement of business. When the registrar find that all the information is true, authenticity is true, and the validity is true, in that condition the certificate of commencement will be provided to the company. The company can start. Now the public company can also start its activities from this date onwards. Now you can see a specimen of the certificate of commencement of business is also there. So this is all about today. Today we have discussed about the capital subscription stage, including the steps of SEBI approval, prospectus or a statement in lieu of prospectus, appointment of bankers, minimum subscription, application to stock exchange, and allotment of shares. And thereafter we have discussed the fourth and last step, that is the commencement of business. This is all about today. God bless you all.